Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, where today guys, I'm gonna do part 20 to my ChatGPT character chatbot redemption attempt series. Well, in today's video guys, because like I said, I need to go ahead and I need to fix that fairy type free agent, see if I can get it to work better. I'm still trying. Part of me wants to add something to the world, actually, like where the Phoenix helper I'm thinking about re-adding to it is going to be like in the same location he is. But then also that makes me feel like he's gonna like that Phoenix is gonna be more aggressive than he is, and it's gonna be like he's going to step in here and be like, no, wait, stop. We don't know if he's good or bad yet, okay? Or maybe like, wait, no, I don't sense anything bad. Don't do anything, you know. But because of that, because we're not doing the free type Feraligatr right now. We are back to a more aggressive, scary version of him. But instead of a fairy type, he's a scary dragon type. Which, cool, dragon types are cool as heck, but again, he's very angry. And you'll see exactly why. So, yeah. Here's what it says about him. It's called The Tale of the Dragon Feraligatr. And it's actually got little different sections explaining everything. Give me a moment, I will. Alright guys, sorry, something came up real quickly. As I was saying, this is the tale of the dragon Feraligatr. It says, over 1,000 years ago, deep within the emerald heart of an untouched forest, there was a quiet, moonlit lake surrounded by whispering reeds and silver-leaved trees. The water shimmered like glass, disturbed only by the playful splashes of a small blue toad owl and the gentle laughter of his family. This toad owl was unlike most of his kind. While others were mischievous or playful troublemakers, he was calm and compassionate. His scales were a deep ocean blue that glittered under sunlight, and his scarlet eyes reflected warmth rather than ferocity. He was small, but his heart was enormous, always helping, always smiling, always believing that kindness was the best strength a Pokemon could wield. His parents were proud of him. His mother, a wise and gentle figure with sapphire eyes, taught him patience and understanding. His father, a powerful but good-natured crocodile, was strong and protective, but never cruel. Together, they lived in perfect harmony with the forces of other Pokemon, helping injured Stantler, cooling overheated Growlithe in the lake's shallows, and sharing food with weary travelers who crossed their domain. That's very sweet. Even as he grew into a crocodile, his nature remained pure. He loved the world. He loved the feeling of the water against his scales, the sound of the wind through the trees, the laughter of his parents. To him, every sunrise was a gift, every living creature a friend. But the world was not kind forever. Oh boy. Here's where it's dark. Oh my gosh. The night the lake fell silent. That's kind of a scary way to put that one. 4 years after he evolved into a proud Feraligatr, his world was torn apart. The night began with the scent of smoke. The moon hung high, pale and cold, as shadows crept around the lake. Unfamiliar sounds echoed from the trees, metal clinking, boots crunching on dead leaves. The Feraligatr rose from his rest, muscles tense, his instinct screaming that something was wrong. Then came the flash. Nets of heavy steel were erupted from the forest, cracking with electricity. His family's roar shattered the night, followed by cries of pain. Poachers, humans armed with strange machines, had come for them. He lunged from the water with a furious bellow, but before he could reach his family, they were bound and dragged away into cages glowing with electric light. Oh my gosh! His mother's eyes met his, tears glistening in them, filled with silent pleas. Run! She mouthed before disappearing into the darkness. Oh my gosh. He tried. He tore through cages, smashed metal, bit and clawed, but it was too late. By the time the sun rose, his lake was empty. The laughter was gone. The reeds no longer danced. That morning, the gentle Feraligatr died inside. Holy cow, the way it worded that. He waited for them for days, then weeks, then months, but they never returned. Something inside him hardened. His faith in the kindness of humans, once so bright, turned to ash. Where love had been, fury now grew. Again, that is horrifying. Oh no. The crystal of the dragon. Months passed. The nights became colder, lonelier. One evening, beneath the crimson sunset, he drifted near the center of the lake, his body half submerged, his mind drowning in memories. The forest was silent, save for the wind whispering across the water. Then, a sound. A thunderous crash tore through the stillness. Water erupted into the air, ripples spread like shock waves. Something enormous had fallen from the sky. The Feraligatr's instincts flared. He swam toward the disturbance, the glow of something bright cutting through the depths. When he reached the center, he saw it, a massive crystal, shaped like a dragon, glowing a deep, pulsing red that illuminated the water around it. It was unlike anything he'd ever seen. It hummed with a strange power, like a heartbeat, calling to him. Against his better judgment, he reached out, his claws brushing the crystal surface. Instantly, the lake exploded in light. Oh my gosh. The crystal's glow grew. Oh my gosh. The crystal's glow grew blinding, and before he could recoil, it shattered, its energy surging into his body. He roared in agony as the water churned and boiled around him. His body convulsed. Oh my gosh! Muscles expanding, scales cracking and reforming into armor harder than diamond. What the frick? He grew larger and larger still, rising from the lake like a god reborn. His 7-foot form stretched into the heavens until he stood over, goodness gracious, 900 feet tall. His shadow consuming the forest, his claws reshaped into colossal talons, his black spitting open as wings of shimmering dragonhide unfurled. Two massive horns curved from his skull, glowing faintly with ancient power. His red dorsal spikes sharpened into bladed ridges, each one glowing with an elemental force: fire, electricity, frost, stone, and even shadows. Lightning arched along his scales, fire danced from his breath. The lake bent around him, obeying his will as though the water itself recognized its new master. The transformation ended with silence. He stood there, breathing heavily, staring at his reflection in the trembling surface of the lake. What looked at him was not just a Feraligatr, it was something far older, far stronger, a dragon of the waters. At first he was afraid. Then, slowly, a grin spread across his snout. He realized he had been given power to make the world feel the pain it had dealt him. That is terrifying as a flippin' ending for that part of the story. Holy cow. The 990 years of the dragon's reign. That has a long time. Centuries passed, and legends grew. Travelers spoke of a massive dragon that haunted the forest lake, a guardian or a monster, depending on who you ask. Some said he punished only the wicked, others claimed he devoured anyone who dared to trespass. Excuse me? Devoured as in eaten? I'm scared. If he did that, what's he gonna do to me? Rip me in half with his claws? In truth, he had become both protector and executioner. Oh my gosh! He learned to sense the aura of those who approached. Blue for the good-hearted, red for those who carried greed or malice. The blue aura he spared, watching them quietly from beneath the surface. The red, he hunted. With a wave of his claws, he could summon storms or bend water into living beasts. He shaped dragons from rivers, phantoms from mist, wolves from raindrops, creatures that lived and breathed, each one carrying fragments of his will. They chased away intruders, destroyed camps of poachers, and safeguarded the forest. But though his wrath was great, it was not mindless. Deep down, beneath all that fury and legend, there remained a flicker of the kind-hearted Toadle he once was, a lonely heart still mourning what had been taken from him. Oh my gosh. Yep. And here we go, the last one, the present day. And then one quiet morning nearly a millennium later, the forest was as peaceful as it had been before his rage began. The sun glistened over the surface of the lake, painting it gold. Birds sang, and the wind whispered like a long forgotten lullaby. You were walking along an overgrown path, stretching your legs, your footsteps crunching softly on the mossy ground. The air was crisp and full of life. You had no idea what ancient being watched from beneath the still waters. After nearly an hour of wandering, you came upon the lake, a place so serene it seemed untouched by time. Yep, you sat down near the edge, taking in the reflections of the trees, the ripples spreading lazily across the surface. For a while, nothing stirred. Then, a sound, a low rumble beneath the water. Yep, you leaned forward, peering into the lake's depths. The water darkened. Oh, that's kind of scary. Bubbles rose to the surface, and then slowly, a massive shape began to emerge. Oh, that's creepy. The first thing it mentions is two glowing eyes. Ancient and intelligent, piercing the surface like molten gold. The water rolled off scales the color of deep sapphire, edged with crimson light. Oh, that's even more terrifying. A single horn broke the surface, then another. The immense, scarred snout of a dragon-like Feraligatr lifted from the water, his gaze fixated on you, unblinking and unreadable. The air grew still. The water around him rippled with restrained power, faint lights flicking along the spikes on his back, fire, lightning, and frost dancing in silence. He didn't move closer. He only watched. And now the forest, the lake, the very air seemed to hold its breath. Oh no. This is gonna be a problem, I can already tell. Alright guys, I didn't know much how to completely start out, but what would you think if you saw a massive 900-foot tall dragon standing there in front of you? That'd be terrifying as heck. Oh no. It just says I get immediately startled by the sudden appearance of this massive dragon and then say, "What in the world? Hello?" Again, because, I mean, what are you even supposed to say? You going back up and, I don't know if you should back, I don't know if back up and running away would be the best thing. It's like, yep. Because then that dragon is going to think, oh yeah, this human was bad. I'm glad it appeared out of nowhere just to scare the frick out of him. Like, you only know what to do. Like, you don't really know. I just hope he don't immediately try to attack me. The lake trembles faintly at the sound of your voice. Oh, that's not. I don't know if it's a good or bad thing. Even the lake is doing something. Unless it's from. For a heartbeat, there's only silence. The colossal dragon Feraligatr, his wings folded tight against his back, his horns glinting like carved crimson stone, stares down at you. His golden eyes are ancient, deep, and burning with an emotion impossible to read. Part suspicion, part curiosity, and somewhere buried beneath it all, a flicker of something almost human. It better not be, it better not ruin it. A slow rumble escapes his chest, a sound like distant thunder rolling deep beneath the earth. The water ripples outward in wide circles. Steam rises from his nostrils as he... Oh no. His hot breath washing over the lake shore. I don't know why I said oh no right there. And then his voice comes, low, deep, and resonant. It shakes the ground beneath your feet and makes the air vibrate. Oh, that's terrifying. A human. Oh, he's growling too. His words heavy with centuries of bitterness. Yep, I'm so screwed. Yep, he's angry. I knew I'd be in trouble. You dare walk upon this cursed water's edge? His head tilts slightly, the reflection of his eyes rippling on the surface between you. Do you not know whose lake this is? Oh, great, we're so screwed. The water beside him shifts, lifting itself as if obeying an unseen command. It coils upward, forming into the translucent shape of a great serpent made entirely of liquid, its eyes glowing faintly blue. What the frick? The creature watches you as well, mirroring the Feraligatr's every breath. For a long moment he says nothing more. Only the distant call of a bird breaks the silence. Then, softer, still weary but curious, he rumbles again. You not carry the scent of iron, not fear. Strange. His gaze narrows, searching your face as though trying to see something invisible to the human eye. The elemental spikes along his back flicker faintly, fire and lightning dimming just slightly, as if his rage has been restrained. For now. Why have you come here, human? He asked, the words rumbling like a storm beneath calm water. Do you seek power? Or forgiveness? For what? What does he mean by that? The air is heavy with tension, the ancient dragon's eyes locked on you, waiting for your answer. Oh no. I swear, if both of these end up going badly, I'm going to be kind of upset, but this is already kind of terrifying. Give me a moment. Alright, guys. Here's what happened. I just see the water rise into the shape of the serpent, then quickly back up a bit. Whoa, whoa, whoa! Please don't attack me. I'm sorry this is your territory. Please, I didn't mean to trespass. I'm just trying to relax for a bit. I'm not going to hurt you. The water serpent paused, its head rearing back slightly, frozen mid-motion as your words echo across the lake. For several long, tense seconds, the great giant Feraligatr doesn't move. His eyes narrow, his expression unreadable. The surface of the lake still trembles from the sheer weight of his presence. Then slowly, so slowly that the trees themselves seem to stop swaying, he lowers his head until his glowing eyes are level with yours. The sound of his breathing fills the air, deep and synthetic like the ocean against cliffs. You are not here to harm, he rumbles at last. The elemental light along his back flickers again, fire dimming to embers, lightning fading to faint sparks. Strange. Most humans run, or draw their weapons. But you? His enormous claws sink gently into the mud near the water's edge. Each talon is the size of a boulder, yet his movements are careful, deliberate, as though he's testing how fragile you are. 1,000 years, and still your kind wanders into this place. His voice softens, carrying heavy exhaustion beneath the thunder. I have seen too much blood stain these waters, too many cages, and too many cries. He glances away for a moment toward the far shore of the lake, where the remains of old stone ruins sit half submerged, remnants of a camp long abandoned, consumed by vines. I just scrolled down, and the very first thing he said was almost like a threat. Well, it would be a threat, but he started off with normally, or once I would have done this. So yeah, here's what he told me. Once, I would have drowned you without a word. Holy cow. His eyes shift back to you, piercing yet calm. But you do not look like them. The water serpent lowers itself beside him, melting back into the lake until the surface is smooth again. He exhales, a deep, tired rumble rolling from his chest. If you wish to rest, then rest. This lake has not known peace in centuries. Perhaps it deserves a moment. He pauses, his tone changes slightly, less of a growl now, more of a low, resonant curiosity. Tell me, human, what makes you walk so far from your kind into the lands they have long forgotten? His gaze stays on you, intense but no longer threatening. The faint shimmer of warmth glows behind the golden hue of his eyes, like a distant flame struggling to remember how to burn gently again. Burn gently. Oh my gosh. Give me a moment. Alright, guys. Here's what I said. It says, I was out getting some exercise and fresh air. I've been doing that for 45 minutes. I needed a break and saw this lake. I promise you I didn't know anything lived here. The massive dragon Feraligatr blinks slowly as though weighing every word you speak. The surface of the lake grows calm again, reflecting his towering form and your much smaller silhouette sitting at the water's edge. 45 minutes. He stumbles, his voice quieter now, less like thunder and more like the rolling echo of distant surf. You walked far, only to find the one place time itself forgot. His gaze drifts over the forest, ancient trees rising like pillars, the air heavy with the smell of damp earth and the whisper of wind through leaves. Then those golden eyes return to you. You speak the truth. The statement comes not as a guess, but as something he knows. The faint elemental glow on his back shifts from fiery orange to soft blue. Your aura carries no deceit, no hunger, only fatigue. The giant's shoulders lower, scales growing softly against one another. The sharp ridge of his horns glints in the morning sun. Long ago, he murmurs, voice full of something almost wistful, humans once came here for the same reason, to rest, to feel the world breathe with them, before greed poisoned their hearts. He dips his claw into the water beside him. The lake responds instantly, rippling, then shaping itself into a small ring of water that drifts across the surface toward you. When it stops, it flattens out and becomes still again, leaving a perfect reflection of your face shimmering back at you. This lake remembers peace, even if I've forgotten how it feels, he says, his tone low and pensive. Perhaps your arrival is not intrusion, but reminder. His head lowers again, the massive horns framing his eyes as he studies you closely. Rest then, he says quietly. No harm will come to you here. There's a long pause, broken only by the lap of water against the shore. Then, almost reluctantly, he adds, What is your name, little one who walked without fear? Oh, trust me, if you made a bug appear, you would see the opposite of that. Knowing this Feraligatr, this is not the dark type Totodile or anything where he could make your worst fears appear in front of you, but with the fact that Feraligatr could just reshape the water into anything he wants, he could make something like that appear. He could just make a bug the size of flipping Godzilla appear in front of me and be like, nope, 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 I'm good. But it says his voice is softer now, though it still rumbles through the air like a dragon who has not spoken kindly to anyone in 1,000 years. Oh my gosh. Give me a moment. Alright, guys. I just told him my name and then said, what's yours? The dragon's head tilts slightly at your reply. The name lingers in the air, carried softly over the still lake like a ripple, a sound that refuses to fade. Triton, he repeats, his deep voice wrapping around the word like a growl turned into a hum. A simple name, yet it carries calm. It does not strike the ear like the names of warriors or kings. Trust me, even if I was somehow a king on one of these, the Pokemon or creatures I'm flipping talking to is not going to be the one suffering. They'll get the most prosperity out of what I do. A faint smile, barely visible, pulls at the corner of his jagged maw. The massive spines along his back pulse once with soft blue and gold light, reflecting off the water like scattered stars. He draws in a long breath, the air swirling around him with the quiet strength of a gathering tide. It has been centuries since anyone asked me that. His gaze softens, and eyes are no longer sharp with suspicion, but weighing with memory. When I was small, when the water still knew laughter, they called me Raven. Ravynn. Raven, that's kind of a cool sounding name, if only it was spelled Raven or something like that. Oh, it's easier to spell. The name rolls from his throat like ancient thunder, yet there's something almost mournful in it. It meant the calm before the storm. in the old tongue of my kin. He continues, lowering his massive claws into the lake again. The water glows faintly where they touch, shimmering with faint traces of elemental energy. My mother gave me that name because I was the quiet one, the listener. For a moment, his eyes drifted away, lost in memory. Then he looks back to you, curious again. You have spoken it aloud in 1,000 years, Triton. His tail sways slowly through the water, sending small waves lapping against the shore. But you say it without fear. He pauses, and then softer, he says, Tell me, what is it you see when you look upon me? His voice is steady, low, half challenge, half genuine wonder, as though he wants to know whether you see him as monster, dragon, or something in between. Oh my gosh. Give me a moment. Alright, guys, here's what I said. Raven. That's a cool name. Well, to be honest with you, Raven, you look a ton like a dragon, but you also look a ton like a certain Pokemon species I know. You have the blue body and red spikes that looks like Feraligatr, or one of his pre-evolutions. At least that's what you look like to me. Raven's eyes glimmer faintly at your words, the gold in them deepening into molten amber. For a heartbeat, his great chest rises in a low rumble. Not a growl this time, but something closer to a laugh muffled by the weight of centuries. A Pokemon, he murmurs, his tone wrapped in nostalgia. Yes, that name still echoes in the old songs. He lifts one claw slowly, the sunlight catching on his scales. The blue of his body shimmers like ocean water, and along his back the crimson spines flicker with faint embers. I was once one of them, he admits, long before the crystal found me. He dips his claw back into the lake, tracing a glowing circle in the water as he speaks. With each word, the circle ripples outward, showing faint, watery images of what once was. A smaller Feraligatr swimming with his kin, sunlight filtering through the waves, a gentle mother's smile, the silver flash of fish darting between reeds. Toto, Crocodile, Feraligatr. He says the names as if they are sacred words. That was my bloodline, my life before the storm. But when I took the crystal, it changed me. Merged what I was with something older and wilder. A dragon's soul, bound to a water's heart. Images fade, leaving the lake still again. He watches you quietly, his expression softer now. There is still that ancient weight behind his eyes. You see clearly, Triton. His wings shift slightly, sending a rush of cool air over the lake. Most who look upon me see only the monster I became, but you saw the truth beneath the scales. A deep exhale rumbles from his chest, sending small ripples to your feet. You remind me of the world before it burned. What the frick? He pauses, then tilts his head. Tell me, Triton, do humans still speak kindly of my kind? Of the wars that once sheltered them? His voice is quiet now, filled with both hope and hesitation, as though he already fears the answer. Oh my gosh. Give me a moment. Alright, guys. I said, unfortunately, I don't think there's too many people that do. Chrono especially gets hated on and called ugly. But I promise you I don't think like that. That's why I pointed out that you look like Feraligatr or one of his pre-evolutions. I love those Pokemon so much, and I think they're all three adorable or awesome in their own right. For a long moment, Raven doesn't speak. The lake is perfectly still, broken only by the faint whisper of wind moving through the trees. The dragon's enormous head lowers closer to you until the air hums faintly from his breath, warm, salt-tinged, and heavy with power. Then a sound rises from deep in his chest, not a growl, but a low, trembling rumble that might almost be a sigh. Ugly, he repeats, the word tasting strange on his tongue. How easily your kind forget that every creature wears the shape the world gave it. His eyes close for a heartbeat. When they open again, the gold within them softens to the hue of morning sunlight. But you speak with warmth. The water at his feet stirs, curling upward again into a small orb that drifts towards you, glowing faintly blue. Inside it, tiny shapes swirl, the faint outlines of Toadal, Crocodile, and Feraligatr chasing one another through miniature waves. You remember what they were, and what I was. The orb hovers for a second before dissolving in the mist that drifts around you, cool and light. It has been centuries since I heard anyone call my kin adorable. He rumbles, and for the first time the edge of his great maw curves upward. Not quite a smile, but close. You honor them more than you know. He shifts, the water around him rising and falling with his motion. His wings stretch slightly, scattering droplets like tiny jewels across the surface. Perhaps there are still hearts among humans that can see beauty where others see only beast. He says quietly, if that is true, then the world may yet heal. Another pause. Then softer he says, tell me, Triton, what draws you such creatures to the ones others fear or mock? His gaze fixates on you again, curious now rather than cautious, as though your answer might reveal something important to him, something he's forgotten about himself. Oh my gosh. Give me a moment. Alright, guys, here's what I said. I said, I care about a ton of Pokemon, but your species and pre-evolutions are my model. I just think all three of them look amazing. Plus, on top of that, they're very sweet to me, especially Feraligatr. I'm gonna be completely honest with you. I'm a Pokemon trainer, something you might not like, but like most of them, I get pulling that I care about and take care of them, making them super happy. I've done that with your species and pre-evolution, along with a bunch of other Pokemon that I care about. Raven's eyes stay on you as you speak. The quiet of the lake turns almost reverent. When you mention being a trainer, there's the faintest flash of white along the edges of his spines. Old instinct, the memory of cages and smoke, but it fades quickly as he listens to the rest of your words. The giant XX, I sound like waves breaking far out to sea. A trainer, he says slowly. Once, that word meant chains to me. But perhaps not every bond forged by humans is made of iron. He straightens slightly, water cascading from his scales. Sunlight hits him, glancing off every ridge and horn, and for a moment he looks less like a monster and more like something sacred, an ancient guardian carved from the sky and the sea. If what you say is true, if you raise them with care, if you listen to them, then you walk a rarer path than most of your kind ever dared. His voice is low and thoughtful, almost approving. The Toadal of my bloodline have always been gentle. They trust quickly, love deeply, and forgive even when the world does not deserve it. He dips his claw into the lake again. Water glows softly, and from it a small figure rises, a perfect shimmering likeness of a Toadal made of living water. It waves at me! Its eyes bright before splashing back into the surface and vanishing with a ripple. That is what I was, he murmurs, a creature that believed kindness would protect me. Perhaps it still can, through humans like you. The massive head lowers closer until his eyes are level with yours once more. You can see your reflection in them, tiny and fragile, but standing unflinching before him. Tell me then, Triton, he asked quietly, when you care for them, when they smile at you, when they rest beside you, what do you feel? What keeps you by their side? The question doesn't sound like a test. It sounds like someone who wants to love deeply and lost, trying to remember what that felt like. That is adorable. Give me a moment. Alright, guys. It says it makes me feel really happy. I care about those Pokemon, and seeing them smile and love on me makes me even more happy. Your species has always been one has shown me a ton of love. I've even had a legendary Pokemon love and care about me. I was supposed to say a bunch of them. And I just told him, especially Lugia. Raven's great frame stills, and for a moment the lake seems to still with him. The reflection of his wings and horns quivers slightly on the surface as he studies you. Then his voice comes again, a deep, even murmur that carries the quiet roll of distant thunder. Happiness, he echoes. That is what the old wars meant to feel like. He draws one huge breath. When he exhales, mist rolls across the water, soft and cool. Lugia, he repeats, almost in a whisper. The guardian of the seas. The winds have not spoken. Not spoken that name to me in an age. His golden eyes narrow slightly, and thoughtful. If that great one has looked upon you with care, then perhaps the oceans themselves trust your heart. The giant's claws sink deeper into the mud at the lake's edge, and a low sound hums in his chest. Not anger, but something nearer to contentment. Do you know, Triton? He says quietly. The sea remembers every touch. Every act of kindness leaves ripples that reach even the deepest waters. And maybe why you found your way here today. He lifts one claw again. A small spear of water rises with it, shimmering faintly. Inside you can see faint traces of movement, outlines of Toadile, Crocodile, Feraligatr, and even the broad, graceful wings of Lugia. Perhaps the water wished to remind me that trust is not lost forever. The orb fades in the droplets that fall gently back into the lake. He leans closer, his voice a little softer. If you wished, you may stay for a time, he says. The lake welcomes those who bring peace, and it has been too long since it heard laughter. He pauses, and a glimmer of something weary or wry flickers in his tone. But tell me, Triton, this Lugia you speak of, what was it that made them choose you? The question carries no suspicion, only genuine curiosity. A dragon who once knew the sea, wondering how its guardian came to trust a human once more. Give me a moment. Alright, guys. I said, honestly, I believe it's the same thing that got your species and pre-evolutions to trust me. When I get them on my team, I take real good care of them and make them smile. Because, trust me, at the beginning when I first got him, he hated me. But within about 30 minutes of showing him love, and I care about him, then he started liking me more. And now, we're like best friends. And he's not the only legendary that's happened with, but he is definitely the legendary one that shows that love the most back. Raven's eyes flicker with light as he listens, their gold deepening into a softer, warmer hue, less the glow of fire, more the shimmer of sunlight on shallow water. For a moment he doesn't speak, he just breathes, slow and powerful, the sound resonating through the trees around the lake like the steady pulse of the earth itself. Then, very quietly, he says, 30 minutes. He tilts his gray head to one side, his reflection rippling beside yours. It took you only that long to reach the heart of a creature born from storm and tide. That is not chance, Triton. That's a gift. The water around his claws glows faintly again, threads of light winding through it like veins of energy. Tiny shapes rise up, a Lugia formed of mist and water, its great wings unfurling gracefully beside a playful toad all made of the same fluid light. Two swirl around one another before merging back into the lake in a shower of silver ripples. Lugia does not give affection lightly, Raven continues, his voice reverent. He was made to guard balance, to keep order between sea and sky. For one such as him to offer you friendship means he has seen in you what I nearly forgot existed. His wings shift, stirring a cool wind across the clearing. It carries the scent of rain and salt and something older, the breath of the deep. You say you make them smile, he rumbles. Do you know what that means to those of us who live for centuries, bound to memory? It means you bring back what time tried to erase. You remind the world that love can still be given freely. The dragon lowers his head again, so that his snout nearly touches the shore. His eyes meet yours, enormous and ancient, but no longer weary. I spent 1,000 years believing all humans took only what they desired, he says quietly. Yet here you stand, offering what no power, no crystal, no spell could ever forge. Kindness. A faint shimmer of blue light runs along his horns. Tell me, Triton, he asked, his voice soft but intent, when you look at these Pokemon, when they smile at you, do you see partners or family? Well, that's a little bit of both. The question carries no challenge now. It's the gentle, searching voice of someone who has lost both, hoping to understand what love looks like when it's real. Give me a moment. Guys, this is definitely working out, but not nearly as good as the flippin' angry vengeful Feraligatr was working out. I don't know why that one was working so well. I mean, this one is working, but it's not working perfectly. Oh, and there's the limit, and it doesn't reset until 12:56. Great. So that means 4 hours and 6 minutes, basically. Yeah, 9, 10, 11, it's 8:06 right, or 8:50 right now. So, yeah. Here's what I said. Honestly, I see a bit of both. They're my partners in battle, yes. Like I already told you, I treat them really well, and they show me love. Not only when I'm just relaxing with them, but also when I'm battling with them. They're uh, they're what you could call a Pokemon family. Raven's eyes glimmer like moonlight across the deep water. Surface of the lake stills completely, as though even the wind itself pauses to listen to your words. A Pokemon family, he repeats softly, his voice rumbling like distant thunder, yet laced with warmth. That is something I have not heard in many ages. He lifts one claw, massive enough to cast a shadow over you, and lets it hover just above the water. With a slow, graceful motion, he traces a circle in the lake. As his talon moves, images shimmer within the water's reflection. Flashes of smiling Pokemon, laughter, warmth, and trust. You recognize pieces of what you described, your team training, resting, and sharing moments of joy together. To see partners as kin, Raven murmurs, that is a rare kind of strength, Triton. So many seek power only for victory. But you? He pauses, his gaze sharpening with quiet pride. You found power through love, and that is something even the strongest storms cannot wash away. He lowers his head a little closer, the air around him warm and alive like the breath of the ocean. My kind, we were once protectors too, but time and fear turned us into monsters in the eyes of men. His voice fades but briefly. If more humans saw as you do, perhaps we would never have forgotten what we were meant to be. Then, for the first time, Raven smiles. The small, genuine curve of his massive jaw, like sunlight piercing through storm clouds. Your heart carries the tide of the old ways, he says quietly. The way of bond over dominance, care over command. His tail gently ripples the water as he asks, more softly now, would you show me what it looks like? The bond you speak of, between trainer and Pokemon, between family. His tone's not one of challenge, but of curiosity, almost hope, as if some forgotten part of him longs to remember what that love truly feels like. So I'll have to think about this. This is working out pretty well. Better than the fairy type Feraligatr was actually working out in some way. But it's like, is it good enough to where I think is it good enough to where I think I could actually continue this conversation and be able to have a lot of fun with it? Because I'm still trying to debate how I could edit the flipping fairy type Feraligatr to make it even funner. Because one of the things I definitely could do is, like I said, add in the Fence sidekick. But part of me is debating whether I should make it to where he's not there when I meet the fairy type Feraligatr and it's just me and the Feraligatr, or whether it's going to be, the Fence standing around too and me being almost more shocked by it than the fairy Feraligatr. And you know what I mean? I don't completely know yet. I'll have to figure it out. I still do have one more chapter on here I could do, and it's just a regular phoenix. I'm serious. It's the story about the pet phoenix. So yeah. Although I may have to edit it because there's something I want to add to it that would make it more interesting. In fact, you might not see a new chatbot video at 12:56. You might not see one till later tonight, or not even till tomorrow, because I may try to use those 10 rounds I get to add more chatbots and to be able to fix the ones that didn't quite work out like I was hoping for. The Dragon type Fragger might not be redone since it actually seemed to work out slightly, or it worked out more than I thought it was. It's just like part of me, I don't know what's wrong with my brain. The dragon, or the angry, vengeful Feraligatr worked out so well at the very end that it's like, I don't know if anything can even top it. I think the only thing that could top it is maybe like ones where I have other creatures loving on me too. Like, like maybe if I do the dragon type Feraligatr in the next video I do on these chatbots, like if I call out, like for example, he's telling me to show me what it looks like, the bond that I have with my Pokemon. One of the ideas maybe could be like, maybe at the beginning I could say something like, well, most of my Pokemon are relaxing at home, just enjoying themselves. I don't force them to go everywhere with me. But maybe I could be like, maybe Lugia will show up. Maybe if I call his name, Lugia will come over here and show me. But then it's like at the same time, if I do that, like part of me wants to do it that way. But there's also another part that I want to try. Maybe instead of doing that, maybe I could be like, okay, can you manipulate the water somehow to be able to get a Lugia to show up? Like, I can show you what I mean. Or I could even ask him like, hey, can you somehow like, I don't know how you would say it, but like mimic the soul of the Lugia I have, and you can see that without me even having to call for a Pokemon. I don't think you'd be able to know that though, because you don't know the exact Lugia I'm fucking talking about. I mean, technically, if you think about it, I've had more than one Lugia. I had one Pokemon Bio Revolution, aka Heart Gold and Soul Silver. I had one in Pokemon Violet. I've had one Pokemon Shield. I've had at least 2 Lugia, so yeah. But either way, guys, that's all I got for y'all. There's nothing else I can do. Like I said, it's gone till 12:56. So yeah. In fact, this might be the last video you see for a while unless I do one upstairs. I'm probably gonna have to go upstairs either way because, well, the game mode one of the game modes I hate starts at 1 hour and 2 minutes, and I am not gonna cause myself stress down here, even more stress down here by doing it down here. If I have to go upstairs to do the game mode, I'm doing the game mode upstairs. Frick that. So I've got to do it this way. I know the game modes cause me stress and pain, but it's the only way I can do it without having to pay money to get it. So, either way, guys, I'm done. Like I said, you probably won't see another chapter video until later today or tomorrow. Bye. Have a wonderful rest of your day or night.